Hi, it's Steph. Thanks for clicking. This is my intro for Clue Special Panning Edition Round 3. This project starts today, June 9th, and it ends whenever you win, because this game is based off of the classic board game Clue. So it ends whenever you solve the murder of Mr. Body. Both this project and the board game are a game of elimination. You know that Mr. Body was murdered by one of 6 guests with one of 6 weapons in one of 9 rooms in his manor. You have to figure out who killed him, with what, and where. Each month you can work on up to 3 suspects, 3 weapons, and 3 rooms at a time. You pick from the list of prompts, whichever ones you want. Once you have picked your prompts, you pick the item that goes with it, and then you roll a pair of dice. The dice tell you your usage goal, and once you've met that usage goal, you can use that thing in your 3-part guess. So you might guess, for example, that it was Professor Plum with the knife in the ballroom. You will then, sometime near the beginning of the month, go onto the Fantastic Ladies Facebook page, and you will find the project post listed there. Make sure you're commenting on the post with the correct thumbnail. There are still people working on round 2, including me, so make sure your guess is in the right place so that way your clues make sense. I would then consult my super secret spreadsheet. This super secret spreadsheet has a solution randomized for everybody who is participating. If I look at my spreadsheet and I find that that is not the correct answer, I will eliminate one of the wrong things for you. So I might tell you that it could not have been Professor Plum. In that case, you would then know it must have been one of the other 5 suspects, but it still could have been with the knife in the ballroom. So in order to find that out, you may need to guess those things again. So you would pick the same prompt. You can pick either the same item or a different item, up to you. Roll a pair of dice again, and meet your goal to put that in another 3-part guess. If you would like to use something for reference, the rules really haven't changed from round to round, just I've redefined the prompts, so you can look at either a round 1 or a round 2 version of the game to see how it works. Though, as I mentioned, I am not yet done with round 2. I still have not solved that particular crime, but I'm starting round 3 anyway. If you are still working on round 2 or even round 1, those solutions have not gone anywhere. I still have them saved, so even if you gave the project a break and you're coming back, that's perfectly fine. I will still continue to give you clues. Just make sure that, again, you are commenting on the correct post in the Pantastic Ladies group, otherwise you might get something that doesn't quite make sense. So I think that's all the rules. If you have any questions, you can type them below or in the Pantastic Ladies group. Either one is fine, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in my items for my intro. I do have my 3 initial suspects that I will be investigating. These products are going to look familiar because I use the same ones every year. So first I'm going to investigate Mrs. White. She is something white. This is the Au Naturel Creme Shadow in the shade White Quartz. This is discontinued, and this product is actually in the Beauty and the Beast project pan. The uses are not going to double count. So once I meet my uses for the Beauty and the Beast, then I will start counting the uses for Clue. So this is what I brought in for Mrs. White, and I rolled my dice off camera. I actually don't own a pair of physical normal dice, so I use an app on my phone, but I'm also filming on my phone. So I did this in advance, and I rolled a 9. So I will be using this shadow 9 times before I can guess Mrs. White. The second suspect that I'm going to bring in is Mr. Green, and he is something green. This is the KVD Super Pomade in the shade Power Green. I have, again, rolled my dice off camera, and I rolled an 11. So high roll on that one. I have to use this 11 times before I can guess Mr. Green. Sometimes I use it as a liner, sometimes I use it as a green base. It doesn't really matter. Any use counts. And my last suspect is Professor Plum. He is something purple, and this is a lip crayon, and all the writing is rubbed off. I'm sure this was a drugstore product, but it is purple. And so this is going to be my item for Professor Plum, and I rolled a 7. So 7 uses on the lip crayon in order to guess Professor Plum. Now we're on to the weapons. The weapons and rooms prompts I switched up in order to give some variety. So my first weapon is going to be the lead pipe, and that is a matte product this year. This is the Jean-Michel Quartet Lumino eyeshadow in Accent de Terre 2. Listen, my last name is technically French, but my entire family pronounces it as if it's English. I'm doing the best I can. But for this, it is an all matte eyeshadow quad. It does not matter if I use one shade out of here or all of them. Anytime I use this, it counts as a use. And for this one, I rolled a 3, so the dice were nicer to me on this one. Once I have used this palette 3 times, I can guess the lead pipe. My next weapon is the rope, and this here the rope is a hair product. This is the Olaplex No. 7 bonding oil. This is a sample, but hair oil goes really slowly, so even though it is a sample, I can get a lot of use out of it, I'm sure, but I only rolled a 4, so I am very certain I can get 4 uses out of here, probably by the first update, but this is what I'm going to be using for the rope. My last weapon is going to be the wrench, and that is something that twists up and down, and I'm going to be bringing in this Milk highlighter in the shade Lit. The writing is all rubbed off, but it is a Milk highlighter. It is rolled all the way up now, and I've rolled my dice, and it told me to use this 3 times. So 3 uses on the highlighter in order for me to guess the wrench. Yeah, the dice were pretty nice to me on all of the weapons. Now we're into the rooms, and the first room I'm going to investigate is the lounge, and that is something that you sit down to use. This is actually a little bit tricky for me because I generally do my makeup standing. The makeup that I'm panning and generally using is on a taller dresser, so in order to reach it, I have to be standing up. So that eliminates all of the makeup products, essentially. What I went with is kind of an unconventional pick. This is a foot bath that I got for Christmas, and it is still in the box, which is taped up because I've never used it, which is a shame because I did ask for this for Christmas and my sister-in-law bought it for me, and I do really want to use it. So even though this is not a consumable product itself, I am going to be putting products in it when I use it. So it might be bath salts or something along those lines, oils maybe. So I'll be consuming something, but rolling in the bath itself gives me some freedom to pick what I'm going to put in it at a given time. And so I rolled my dice for the foot bath, and they were kind of ornery at this point, and I rolled a 12. I need to use this 12 times in order to guess the lounge. My next room is the library, and for the library you can pick anything you want, but you have to tell a story about it. And I took a risk in this type of product, but it's what I went with. This is the Pacifica Plant Magic Polish in the shade Sugar Sugar. It is a white nail polish. And so this is what I'm going to be using, and I need to tell a story about it, don't I? Back in 2022, I decided that I wanted to try something new, and I signed up for martial arts classes. So at age 33, I walked into a martial arts studio and started as a white belt. And when I did that, I decided that I wanted to frequently be able to do my nails in the color of my belt. And so that was just a little bit more motivation for me, because then I would get to paint my nails, which would designate my rank even when I wasn't actually wearing my belt. So that actually is something that I've been doing since before I started this channel. And if you go back and look at some of my old videos, you might notice that I frequently wear the same nail color a lot for a given chunk of time, especially if you're seeing black accent nails. I was probably doing my nails to match my belt at that particular time. So what I'm going to do is go back through the ranks, and I will tell a story from when I was that belt level. So I'm going to tell a story from when I was a white belt, and the first thing to make this picture clear is that the adult and teen classes are combined. So there just aren't all that many adults who are in martial arts, so they just combine them with the teenagers, and there's more of them generally. And that was weird for me. I don't work with kids, I don't have kids. That was out of my comfort zone for sure. And it's out of the comfort zone of a lot of people. So whenever I was newer and they don't really know me, they really were trying very hard not to make me any less comfortable than I was. I think it was for that reason that no one ever really did an assessment of what I was capable of physically. And since this was in the year 2022, there was quite a gap of experience within the class. There were not really any new students during lockdowns, right? So there were a couple of really low ranks like me, and then a bunch of black belts, and not really anybody in between. I had been a student there for a couple of weeks when we were doing a drill together. The lead instructor was pulling some students out to work with them individually, and the rest of us were doing this drill with pads where we were trying to kick these pads. Since there were students being pulled out and coming back all the time, we didn't have consistent partners, and for a while I found myself partnered with one of the teenage black belts, which the instructors don't really consider ideal. They like to have people of similar rank partnered together as well as similar height. But for the time being, I was partnered with him. I'd been there for a few weeks, and anytime I was doing drills or practicing my form, I was repeatedly told that white belts were not to kick above waist level. That even though there are moves in the form that are meant to be either like chest or head level kicks, you would do them typically waist level or below if you are new. This did extend to drills, and so it was announced to the class that the students who are white or orange belts were not to be kicking above waist level, but the black belts were to be kicking as high as they can, including jumping to reach the pad in order to kick it. My 14-year-old partner decided that he wanted to challenge me a little bit, and I am very glad that he did. He kept raising the pad higher and higher to the point where I was kicking above waist level. The assisting instructor was yelling at him to stop, that white belts don't kick that high, but he kept teasing it higher, and she was astonished that I could actually kick at chest level. It turned out that the reason that I had been told not to kick above the waist was simply because they assumed that I couldn't. But my 14-year-old partner did not stop there. He kept raising it to head level, and that was too high for me. So I did as the black belts were doing, and I attempted to jump and kick it. I missed and fell flat on my back. It was hilarious. It was exactly like Charlie Brown in the football, but I was having a great time. I was laughing from the floor. That was a pleasant surprise, I think, for the instructors, because I think they were worried that I would be embarrassed in a situation like that, but I was actually having a lot of fun. So it all turned out really well. I guess the moral of the story there is that you can't improve on anything if you don't know what your current limitations are. So you need to figure out where you're going to fail, and that's your benchmark for how you know you're going to improve. I was, at the time, able to kick at about chest level, and now I can kick to head height. So I know that I have improved thanks to the fact that I had a drill partner who felt like not listening to the instructors. I knew that bringing in a nail polish was kind of risky depending on how I rolled, but I decided to chance it, and I rolled a 10. So I need to use this nail polish 10 times in order to meet my goal on the library. The last room that I'm going to investigate is the billiard room, and this year the billiard room is an item that you might keep in your pocket. I actually don't have this item with me because it's in my desk drawer at work. It does frequently live in my purse, but it ended up in my desk drawer somehow, and I haven't gotten it out in order to bring it home to show you. But they are REM blotting papers. They're like charcoal blotting papers. And so that's going to be my item for the billiard room. I rolled my dice and I rolled a 9, so I need to use those blotting papers 9 times, assuming that I remember where they are, and then use them. So there's my intro. The dice left me in kind of a tough position. I rolled really low for the weapons, but I'm rolling high for the rooms, and the suspects are also kind of high. So I will definitely meet goals by the first update, but I'm not sure if I will have a suspect weapon room to guess. I'm going to try though. We'll see how it goes. So wish me luck, good luck with your projects, and I will see you next month. Bye!